hit the live.
You can name it. Therapist, yeah. I know my phone is gonna cooperate anything else under this.
Oh, so you take minutes, it'll come up on my page. I can't do it.
If you take, so I don't have to do it.
You don't have to.
Okay, wait. So do I have to accept it? I don't know how to do this.
Alright, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Covered in Business show. Covered in Business is a network of women that get together and support each other and learn the ins and outs of business with a great support team. And today I have my co-host with me, Atiya Havens of Emmentalaw's Treasures.
Assalamu alaikum.
And I have Farida Celine Boyer. And I have Deana Davis.
Assalamualaikum, everyone.
And today's topic, we are going to be focusing on the mental health in the community. And these two sisters, I am glad to say, are both of my friends. And I love them dearly and very proud of both of them. And starting their own practices to help the community. And not just the Muslim community, to help the community in whole. Muslim and non-Muslim. And I know that mental health is a topic that's very sensitive in the Muslim community because a lot of people don't want to admit the fact that we have problems, we have issues. And I'll tell you firsthand, I don't have a problem. Farida is my therapist, okay?
She
trying to do shit.
Right. Well, she can say what she wants to say.
Yes.
I
mean, y'all ain't gonna know what we talk about, but you know, I got a little bit of sense, a little bit. So I want to introduce again Farida and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I specialize in seeing couples. So I have a lot of Muslim couples that I work on, just helping them with their relationships. A lot of times that we get in marriages and we are unable to communicate with our partner. So I kind of help people learn how to communicate with one another. I also help people who are having symptoms of depression, maybe anxiety. Some people have long-term depression, so a lot of times people ask me, well, how long is the therapy process? So I can never give you a specific answer because it may be 6 weeks, it may be 12 weeks. I have clients that have been with me since I started my practice, which has been 3 years now. So therapy is a process. You build a relationship with your therapist, and that's how it works. So when people say, oh, it doesn't work, I usually ask them, how long have you been in therapy? Oh, I just went one time. It's not going to work one time. I can promise you, you will not see results in one session. So that's what I do.
Mashallah. Deana.
Hi, so I am going to open up my practice. The launch will be this Monday, October the 16th. I'm actually having a meet and greet this Saturday from 4 to 7. I'm sure Aisha will talk more about that, right?
Yes. Well, you're going to go into detail.
Oh, okay. So the meet and greet will be this Saturday. It's at 1445 City Line Avenue. It'll be 4 to 7. I want to give some free consultations, like refreshments, just so that everyone can see the space where I'm going to have the practice and get to meet me and to mingle. So
you got a comfy couch?
Yes, it's very nice. The office is very, very nice. The office is within Dr. Tina Scott's office, so I'll be sharing space with her.
So what type of therapy do you specialize in?
Also, like Farida, I don't do couples. I'm not there yet. I'm just starting out. But I would like to meet with people who are experiencing depression, anxiety, just not motivated. So my goal is to help you figure out the key triggers to see how we can help you to have a fulfilling life. So
Right, and what I want to know, this is a question for both of you. What made you want to go into the field of therapy?
I'm not speaking for myself. Past experience, just not having the support that I needed, growing up, different things that I've gone through. Friends, like their therapists all the time. They're always calling me like, what should I do? So that was always my passion, just to help people and, just to provide them the services that I necessarily didn't have. So.
I guess for me it's similar as well. But I remember when I was younger, I said I was going to be a therapist in a prison. I'm no longer interested in being in a prison, but I was glad because I used to be a teacher. I went from being a teacher and providing home services in the West Philadelphia area, and then I realized it wasn't much more that I could do for families. So then I decided to go back to school and become a therapist. So that's how I started. And then having my own experience, because most therapists are required to go to therapy. So just having my own experience, you
in order for you to be able to understand what it is that people may or may not be going through.
That's part of it. Part of it is you see a lot of clients, people with all types of issues.
Yes.
So if you don't have a way to kind of deal with what's going on with them, you have your own issues in your own life, so you need to kind of
break that down.
So that you can better understand them.
That was actually one of my questions because, like you and you, I was on the track. I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna get an LSW, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that," and then I recognized that I internalize people's problems.
Yes.
So I have more sympathy than empathy, and I'm gonna cry with you.
Yeah.
But as a therapist, I'm like, is that really something that you can do? Can you really cry with your patients? And how do you separate your patients and their stuff and your own?
So in school we were taught to not transfer, like counter transfer and something like that, not to take on their issues, not to internalize it. So I think it's like what Farida said, like just being strong within your practice and how you do things, and just learning the barriers. You have to know your barriers as well, and just stay the course. Like this is your treatment plan, or this is the goals that you're trying to attain. So just not taking on what's going on with them.
I will say this just because I've been through it for some time now, and it's hard not to take on some of the things that they go through. So that's another reason why you have supervision or group supervision, so that you can kind of thresh it out. Most of the time just say for instance, if your client is dealing with some issue and it's over the weekend and you hear something, so it's not like, okay, I'm not going to think about that because I'm not dealing with that client right now. You're going to get that information. Let me make sure that I have this for the client. So you're always working, but you just want to make sure that you have those boundaries established so that you're not getting sucked into what their problem is. So you ask, do you cry with your clients? You build a relationship with these people. Like I said, I've had some clients that's been with me from the beginning. So if something traumatic happened to them, it's like, for instance, one of my clients, like her grandson's mother was killed or something like that. Like that was sad. It was sad. I didn't cry, but I felt like remorse for her. So it depends on the client, your relationship. So it might be sometimes you may shed a tear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like unprofessional.
No, but for you have to figure out what's that about for me.
Right.
So if you are crying because your client is crying, what's that about for me? It triggers something inside you.
Okay.
Yeah. That if you're not able to control it. So.
And then after you have that session, you go to your clinical supervisor and you say, okay, this is what happened. And we have the same supervisor. She's very thorough. And she will break you down.
She used to be my professor.
Yeah.
So that's how I met her. But she's really, really really genuine and just thorough.
So basically there's someone over the therapist that helps the therapist to navigate through.
And so once you become licensed, you don't have to continue with it.
Okay.
You don't have to, but it's good. It's a good outlet for you to just, like I said, just to kind of get things out. So it's good. So I continue with her because I get to go there and sit on her couch and talk about it. So I do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even the therapists need therapy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Another question that I have for you, as a Muslim, do you find that there's a barrier or not a barrier, or do you think that you have more to offer your clients? And I know a friend of mine, her daughter went to therapy years ago, and she was Muslim, her daughter was Muslim, and her daughter was having issues within her Islam. And her therapist was like, just tell her to take it off and she'll be okay, or she take off and you're putting too much on her with the religion and such like that. And you know, we didn't have Muslim therapists at that time. So with us not having Muslim therapists at the time, do you think that gives you more insight into some of your Muslim clients?
I would say that I had a similar question before, like and I'm not sure if this is what you're asking. It's like, is it different from seeing Muslim clients than other?
Yes.
No, it's no different. We had the same issues as Muslims that other people had.
Okay.
The one thing that I do realize about seeing Muslim clients, I think they feel more comfortable in a clinical setting because they don't feel like they're being judged as they would if they went to a masjid. Like because you're telling this person everything about your business, good, bad, ugly, and I don't think that people are always honest if they have to sit in front of an email and say, this is what's really going on.
Okay. Yeah. And the confidentiality part, I think that's the other issue. Solely because will they actually keep my confidence?
Right.
Or will they feel that, well, you know, we need to tell that information because of the greater good? Okay.
And what the one thing that I tell clients in the first session, that your secrets are safe with me unless you are planning on killing yourself or somebody else, or you're abusing a child.
Yes, we don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only criteria.
That's it.
Okay. I'm sorry. So there was something else. What drives you to get up and do this?
I think it's just a need. Like, a lot of people don't think that therapy is necessary. They think that if you go to therapy, you're crazy. And I think it's just debunking that theory or that thought, and you know, just letting them see, like Farida and I, like we're therapists, we're Muslim. You don't necessarily have to be Muslim to come see us, but we invite the Muslim community to come.
The Muslim community needs to come.
Okay. We invite them to come, but you know, we invite everyone to come. My goal was to say, like, you know, for people to come to, people that look like me to come. Like the younger generation, we have issues as well. Everything is directly correlated to how you grew up. Like, you know, issues that you had in your past. The way that we are as adults, it translates to how the way that we are as adults is a direct reflection of how we were as children or what we went through as a child. So, yeah, people need it, and that's what drives me, because I want people to come out. I genuinely want to help people, so that's what drives me.
I feel the same way. At the end of the day, you want to see people win. You don't want, like, for even with me seeing couples, it's like, all right, I want to help you save your marriage, because it's not even just about you two. It's also about your children and your families, like you build these relationships. Yeah, it's bigger than that. So it makes you feel like, you know what, especially when you see that a client is benefiting from it, it's like, all right, my job is working. Like I'm really doing something to impact the community. So,
okay. A question from our audience: how do you hear things and not be judgmental? Because you said the ugly, so you know, ugly is ugly.
Because really, when you're trained in this, you see so many things, you hear so many things, and it's just like nothing really surprises you. It's just like people are people. Anything can happen, and that's just how you see people.
Okay. So I deal with a lot of 18 to 25-year-olds, and you know, I do various different little exercises. I teach psychology, and I find that so many that age are traumatized, but they don't know it.
Right.
You know, they set up they'll say, "Oh yeah, it's 7 o'clock. I need a drink, and or I need some loud, or whatever the case." And I'm like, "You need therapy. Like, there's something going on. There's something else going on behind it," and they really just don't understand that piece. How do you get through to a potential client that they do need therapy?
Well, they have to come for me, like they would have to come. Like I don't know how to like reach out to them. Like if I know a person personally and I see that, okay, you're going in the wrong path, like, and I'll talk to them, okay, you can come in. But for the most part, they would have to come in. They would have to want help to even be open to it. Like it's not going to work if you're closed, if you don't think that you have an issue, or you think that this is a sense of normalcy for you. Like it's not going to work. So you have to be open to it first, or it won't work.
And I think you kind of covered it. Basically, it's because you can't, outside of the therapeutic office, they don't know. You don't really know what people are experiencing.
Okay.
But when you talk about trauma, everybody has suffered from some type of traumatic event. And you don't, I just even speak for myself. My father was killed when I was 11. I was a piece of work and never really realized until I became an adult why I was so angry. Like I was angry. Mm-hmm. So, and I never went to therapy. Like, I think if my mother knew, like, all right, she probably we all as a family need to go talk to somebody because this is not.
Because it's not going to school on Monday.
Yeah, it's not exactly. And it's so funny because my father died during a move event when they dropped the bomb. We lived around the corner from there, so it was all of that going on at one time. So could you imagine? I'm 11 at the time. I'm dealing with the move issue. I'm dealing with the loss of my father at 11. So it was just out of control. So and I can say almost everybody has experienced some type of traumatic event. And if you don't get help from it, it just spirals out of control. And us as a Black community, it's like we were taught whatever happens in this house stays in this house. And then what happens
don't go tell nobody our business.
That's it. So things go swept under the rug, and we never deal with what's going on.
Correct. Right. So this actually goes to you, Farida, because I know that you do the
Black Brain Campaign.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm part of it.
You started.
Oh, mashallah.
Yes, I did. So we started the Black Brain Campaign to eradicate the stigma against mental health in our community because everybody else is going to therapy but us, but we have higher rates of depression and anxiety and now suicide. So we just actually this past summer we partnered with the state reps and we went around in different neighborhoods doing community conversations so that people could ask questions about therapy and try to get the help that they needed.
Okay. Do you find that it was successful? And do you find that a particular neighborhood needed more than others, or?
So this is what I see always seems to be the issue. The people that really need it are not in the room. So it may be the grandmother or the aunt or something like. So you just try to meet them where they are, so that you can give them the material, so that they can help whomever needs, and they can eventually come in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know with Covered in Business, I made it a requirement for all the members to get the mental health first aid training certification, because I think that mental health is serious in our communities, and a lot of people shop because they're going through a mental crisis. So I think that as business owners, you should be aware of.
I ain't saying all that. I'm sorry.
I think that as business owners, you should be aware of the customers that you're dealing with. You know, somebody they may come into your establishment, Atia, in the boutique. I know I cried in your establishment a few times.
You ain't the only one.
And you know, if you have the proper trainings, like I could be suicidal. Alhamdulillah, I'm not. You know what I mean? I love me and my life and fear my Lord. But you might get somebody that come in and they're venting to you and you not recognize the signs or the key words. that they're actually ready to commit suicide. And I think that, you know, as a business owner, if you have that training and you are certified and you call, you know, crisis hotline, like, look, I have my certification, I've noticed this, and they'll send somebody over right away. You know, as opposed to, again, hairdressers. Everybody lives in your hairdresser.
Because they hear everything.
Everything.
And it's funny because my sister's a hairdresser, so she'll tell her client, you probably should talk to my sister. Because at some point, it's only so much that they can do. So they need to have the tools and they can refer out to somebody else that can do.
And that's really what the mental health crisis, the mental health first aid training certification is for, so that you will be aware and know what's going on with your clients or your customers or whatever. You'll learn those keywords. You'll learn the signs. And, you know, we do the classes for noticing the signs in adults, and we do the classes for noticing the signs in our children, which is needed also for teachers, child care providers, summer camp counselors, you know, and this is a free class that we're offering. And, you know, anybody that's interested, you can actually, you know, go to Healthy Minds Philly, I think it is, and sign up at my location at a step above 1803 North 54th Street. Or you can sign up at any location that they have on the calendar. There's multiple locations throughout the city. So that's why I think that, you know, mental health is major and very important in our communities and as business owners. So I applaud both of you ladies, and I'm like honored to have you ladies as my friends and my sisters.
I will say, years and years ago, so, you know, you talked about the suicide part, but one of the other things is recognizing when people are bipolar and schizophrenic. I worked in a health center, and my office was like half of the size. I had a patient come in, be 4 hours, talk about, I need to see my doctor, but I don't know where she at. And I'm like, okay, something's just not right. So I called the clinician, you know, the medical clinician. She talked to her for a few minutes, and she recognized that she was schizophrenic. You know, she told her she hadn't been on her meds and such. And silly me, knowing better, I went back in my office. And I had to see, this is my desk. She sat right there. One door was right there, and the other door was right there. Needless to say, and I'm at the door, at the wall. And I'm like, oh, so the phone ring is the nurse. She said, I need you to get up slowly. I need you to walk out and leave her in the room by herself. And only after she said it did it register, because she was young, she was healthy, she had no looks of her that said, I have schizophrenia. And, you know, after the fact, after I got out, I'm like, okay, she just saved my life possibly, because she could have had, she was on the verge of having an episode and not recognizing, even though you know the signs and such like that, it's still actually acting on it, because mental health issues do not have a look. You know, it doesn't have a look, it doesn't have a socioeconomic, you know, anything. It could be, you know, any one of us at any given point in time, you know. And so I know for me, lately, I've heard a lot of women talking about how they're on meds, you know, and it's not a serious talk. It's more of a yeah, I need to pop my pill, you know, to get myself in order. And I'm like, in my brain is saying, are you understanding this? Is it helping you, or is it just medicating you? So do you find that in mental health, there's a push towards the help part or the medicating?
So for me, I'm not able to prescribe medication.
Okay.
But I do partner with like a nurse practitioner. So all of my clients don't receive medication, and I don't push that all of my clients receive medication. But there are some who need medication.
Okay.
And then we have that conversation about them receiving medication, how is it going to look, and what they do is when I refer them, they get another assessment to see if it's something that they need. And they try it. They try it to see if it's working. So when people get medication, it's not just you getting medication to make you feel good. You still have to go through the therapy, because now you got to talk about how you're processing all those things that's going on while you're using a medicine to help balance out the chemicals that's going on in the brain and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So,
I know one of the things I learned when I took the class, that as Muslims, with us being covered and the lack of vitamin D deficiency, it causes depression. I did not know that the lack of vitamin D can cause depression.
It's funny that I just had this conversation with somebody this week, and I didn't know that either, but I could see how it would be an issue. But again, it's something that we just have to find out the information and have those conversations about it, because it's a lot more people that's walking around depressed than we know about, or that we even talk about.
They may not even know it.
Yeah.
Oh, you've not actually. I was on Facebook one day and someone said, "Oh, I have this, I have that, and this is going on, and that's going on, and this is going on, and I'm just tired." They said tired one too many times, and then said, "But I'm not depressed." Like, oh, sweetie, you are so depressed. You just don't know how depressed. You know, because we have the functioning depression.
Right.
You know, we have the functioning alcoholic as well as the functioning depression until you get, too far into it.
Because that person is going to still get up and go to work, still cook food for the children, still do the laundry and all those kind of things. But when it's time to crash and I can get an hour and hours in the bed, I'm going to lay there. And that's what they do. That's what they do without getting the help that they need. And it's online services, surveys that you can take to get a scale of whether or not you're depressed. Use them. They're free. Go on. I would suggest you go online. But it's better to know like what's going on,
right?
Because it might. The depression just doesn't happen for a week. If you feel like this is all day long, you're feeling tired and all those kind of things, then that becomes a problem. And if you don't handle certain things like anger, depression, you don't know what that might show up as. And that's when you have issues with suicide and all those kind of things. This is how I try to explain it to the children about expressing their feelings. I was like, you have a water bottle and you fill it up. What's going to happen if you keep filling it up? And they're like, oh, it overflows. That's how depression, anxiety, if you're not talking about your feelings and you're not getting it out, when it explodes, it's going to look like something that you have no control over.
Right. That's what I want to say. We're talking about depression, but anxiety is also a big thing as well.
Yeah.
People don't know when they're experiencing anxiety attacks. They just think like, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed, or my heart is like racing, but they don't understand you're having an anxiety attack. So just knowing the signs of depression, of anxiety, and getting the help, and if a family member or someone that they're telling you, okay, this is how I'm feeling, it's the onus is on us.
Girl, you gonna be okay.
The onus is on us to tell them, you're going to be, or to get the help. So.
And I wanted to mention, when you were talking about bipolar and things like that, schizophrenia, when we were growing up, because I remember one of our neighbors, he would just be out there on the L singing and all kinds of stuff. But he had a mental health. We just called him crazy.
Right.
But no, he really had a mental health disorder, because he ended up moving to a different state and died, like on the side of the road. Nobody knew this. And it's like, had he got the help that he needed, he could have lived. And we don't look at it like that. We just say, Uncle such and such is acting crazy. Right. No, it's nothing wrong with nobody. You even think about the homeless people. Nobody really wants to be like that.
Right.
Nobody wants to live like that.
Yes. There has to be a reason.
Yeah, there has to be something. We were talking about that in class, that there is a disconnect. And sometimes the drugs and alcohol is the coping mechanism, and that's what a lot. Yeah, that's it. But you find different coping mechanisms to deal with your situation, and as you said before, I definitely want to talk more about the stigma of seeking treatment as it relates to mental health. You say mental health, and You know, people are like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
You know, or what's that? Why do I? That's or the worst is it's not for us. It's for those other people. They get that. And the saddest part is I'm in the billing world. It's free. Like, just turn your card over. The bottom line where it says, are you feeling, even from a work perspective, you go into your break room, it asks you these questions. Are you feeling this way? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Call this number. But we really don't utilize it. How do you think we can get past that? Because we're now dealing with a different generation. Now this generation, everybody putting everything on Facebook and social media about what's going on. But how do we bridge the just using Facebook, social media as a method of therapy, so to speak, because you get everybody and their mama commenting and telling you, oh girl, you should, and this, that, and the next, versus helping them to get treatment, or even know that it's okay to get treatment.
I think y'all should do that.
But I'll tell you this. One thing I noticed about the younger generation, they know what therapy is and they don't have a problem with it. It's more like our age and older, especially older people, who have the problem with mental health, because it goes back to
generation.
That's it. Don't talk about what's going on over here.
Right.
And it's nothing wrong with me. I'm just having the little problem right now, but I'll be okay.
Right.
And I'm gonna pray about it. And it's good to pray about it. Keep praying. But keep praying that you find yourself a good therapist so that you can talk it out and won't have those issues. So.
Right.
And sometimes you need more than a therapist. You need a psychiatrist.
Exactly.
So speaking of which, what is the difference? So you're a therapist, not a psychologist.
No.
What is the difference?
Psychologists do more of assessments.
Okay.
So when you have sometimes they do the educational assessments. They do mental health assessments as well. So that's the difference. But the difference between psychologists and psychiatrists prescribe their medications, and psychologists don't.
Okay. And y'all are not talking people. I get to talk to y'all.
Yeah. And the therapist kind of talks to them. Because just from the and you have some psychiatrists just prescribe medication. It's not like they won't meet with you every week. They just won't prescribe you the medication. But it's good to work with the psychiatrist who also is in the office with the therapist, so you can still get that both of those services.
Okay. Oh my God, I just had a question in my head. So, come on, each help me out before we have this.
I don't know what you was about.
No, I know. Ask a question while I formulate the next question. She said something about the psychologist and the therapist. As a Muslim, do you find that you have a lot on you as a therapist, expectation?
Yes. Someone approached me and they said, well, are you gonna do like we need stuff like more Islam and the clinical part. We need it to collide. And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna strictly stick with the clinical. Because I don't want it to be, I don't want that pressure of, having that extra layer. I just want to do the clinical side. I think I want to help you clinically. I don't want to collide the two. I want to keep it, what my focus is. I don't want to.
So you don't want to be an imam at the same time?
No.
Okay.
And we'll let the imams be the imams and we'll be the therapists.
Yeah, and then you'll have somebody that then came to you and said, oh, well, my therapist says such and such, saying that you quoted something from the Quran or a hadith or something. And then they be like, oh, don't go to her, girl.
Yes.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. It's a lot of Muslims in the city, but certain Muslims prescribe to this madhab and that madhab. So when they come to see me, I explain to them that I'm clinical. However, whatever you believe, we can incorporate it inside. Like, if this is your thoughts and how you want to practice, we can incorporate that into the session. So
I think y'all would make it easier for a Muslim to come, more relatable.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Yeah, because if I come in and say, I'm going through something with my mother, but I can't express it because that's my mother, and I have to have this level of respect. And some people are I'd say it's abused by the religion because you're using, various different pieces of the religion that stifles you to be able to express yourself. Like you talk back to your mother. Like, no, I just expressed something to her, and you can understand where my relationship with my mother is. I'm having difficulty with my mother, but this is where my difficulty lies. I want to be able to voice to her my opinion without actually, being disrespectful. And then now I feel that I don't have a voice, so because I don't have a voice, I'm not, whatever the case may be.
Right, because you can talk to your mother, but it doesn't have to be disrespectful. It's all about having an open dialogue with her and teaching people how to effectively communicate with one another. That's a part of,
Or what about that sister that's married to the brother with the multiple wives, and they're having issues?
Farida.
That's the reality. I've seen some couples with those. It's one of the things that I do is something that's called a genogram.
Yes.
So an genogram is like characters that you use to create a picture of a family. So when you see, so hypothetically, if a brother has multiple wives, you put this on a genogram. However, you put it. What goes on the genogram is how many children, wives, with your grandparents and things like that. You also put down any abuse, sexual abuse, drug and alcohol, divorce and things like that. So if you have multiple divorces, then for me it's a red flag. Like, what's going on? Why are you having multiple divorces and things like that? So those are things. It helps you to kind of develop a plan. Like, these are some of the issues that's going on that we need to communicate about. But I haven't had, nothing looks like, it's like everything is not the same. So you may have 2 wives and a husband. You may have just a wife and a husband, but they're talking about the other wife. But I invite anybody in the room, your mother, your father, all the wives, like whoever, because what happens is if we're talking about a person that's not in the room, we can't hear their perspective. We only hear it from what you're saying. So whoever wants to come, just come on in. Like, I tell my clients, they're like, oh, I'm gonna bring my mom. Just bring them. You don't have to call me to tell me to bring them. You gonna bring them? Just bring them. Whoever you want to bring, your wife, your mother, grandmother, whomever. They all welcome.
So do you think that there's a disconnect when the other party that you're having an issue with is not present? Or does it matter? Do you think you can get to the root of it without that other piece?
I think you can get to the root of it. Having the additional party will help. The session will help you overall. But, a client coming in, the goal is to help you get to the root of your issue. So, say you're having an issue with your spouse. Okay, why, like what Farida said previously, why are you having that issue? What happened to you in your childhood? What happened before this? What traumatic experience did you encounter for you to have this reaction to whatever your issue is? Just having the extra people there is a bonus because you can now help your entire family as a unit. So.
Because you might have a client that paints a picture of like, I'm this good person, I do X, Y, and Z. And you have their mother or husband come in and it's like,
who that person?
Yeah, right. She told you what? No, that's
not her.
Right.
That's social media version.
Right. So you have to see how they
interact with each other.
Right. How other people perceive.
So when you start a new client, so I'm your new client, I just came in, I said, I'm going through some stuff and I need somebody to talk to. What's the first step in it? Do I have to spill my whole guts out to you? Or is it like a questionnaire or a combination?
I mean, we want to know, why did you decide to come to therapy? That's always the number one.
I don't know. They told me I need to have therapy.
Okay.
So I know what I have.
I told you I got issues. I know I got issues.
They told me.
Who is that? My mama said I need therapy.
Because they could be the people in your head. Like, what? Who's that? Okay, so you have those are the questions that you have to ask.
Yeah.
But I do an assessment.
Yeah.
If initial clients, I ask them to come in about 15 minutes earlier
Right.
before their scheduled appointment, just so they can complete the paperwork, and then they're not using the time of the session to complete it. But it gives me some of the information about just about who they are and some of the things that they experience. But I use the session, like first couple sessions anyway, just to allow them to just talk. And when I talked about the genogram, I do that in the first or second session to make sure that's done. So then it gives me a picture of this is what's going on in the family or with this particular person. But I allow them to talk. And I may ask questions about, depending on what they say, I might want to ask a follow-up question. But they talk, it's the presenting problem, like what do you come into therapy for? Because somebody might be coming to therapy because they can't sleep at night, or they're eating too much, or they are having issues with.
Or I can come as a greedy person.
You might want to figure out why you're eating so much, like because I am an emotional eater.
Yeah,
Like if things are not going right, I'm gonna eat. I want some cake, and I hope my trainer don't see this, but I might want to eat some cake because it tastes good. So
Because it tastes good.
it tastes good. So.
And it's soothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a nice piece of cake. It's not my fault I ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so we're gonna close this out with you two for a second. Can we have your location of your practice?
So I'm located in Bala, Kenwood. It's right off of City Avenue at 104 Bala Avenue. My number. I am in the office mostly every day except for Sunday and Monday. The quickest way to get in touch with me is to give me a call if you want to schedule an intake, and my number is 215-500-1372.
Deana.
Okay, so my office will be at 1445 City Line Avenue. It's right across the street from the TJ Maxx. So it's kind of hard to figure it out, but it's like Winfield.
I'm gonna come to you for some retail therapy.
Okay, come right
Help
next to the
me.
TJ Maxx.
After she done
After the
Right
shop,
now.
I need to go see her.
Yes. So my days of practice will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No, excuse me. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 4:30 to 6:30. Yeah. And if you need to contact me, you can give me a call. My number is 267. Let me see if I can remember it. I don't remember it. It's new, so I'll remember it.
You can follow on
Yes.
if you're on Facebook Live. You can follow her page to get her contact information, especially her contact information for her meet and greet on Saturday.
Yes. my
That
meeting
is
is
between
7 and 4.
4 and 7.
4 to 7. I'm sorry. 4 to 7. Yes.
Inshallah. Farida, what do you have anything coming up next?
Not that I can think of, but you can follow the Black Brain Campaign. We always have something going on, and that's on social media. And we have a website, theblackbraincampaign.com.
Awesome.
Our sisters, we appreciate it. Aisha, you gonna close out?
All right. Covering business, we have a few upcoming events with our members. So this Saturday, on the 14th, Sweet Tooth Delectables is having a business warming from 12 to 4 at 1803 North 54th Street at a step above. The tickets are $25. Today is the last day to purchase your ticket if you are interested in coming. Covered in business members, your tickets are $20. And then again, we have the meet and greet with Deana Davis from 4 to 7 at 1445 City Avenue in Wynwood, PA. It is open house and this event is free. Covered in business is having, our brunch. Our brunch is this Sunday from 11 to 2. Tickets are $20 for non-members and black members. $10 for platinum, $10 for gold members, and it's free for platinum members. And if you are interested in joining the Covered in Business Network, you will go to coveredinbusiness.net. And I am sponsoring a poetry event. It is the Muslim Women of Spoken Word 2 or 3, I believe. And that's going to be Friday, October 27th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The tickets for that is $20, and you can get more information on that at MuslimWomenPoets.com. The facilitator is Gifted a Pen, Shakura, and she's pretty dope. And I'm going to give y'all a little taste of my poetry because I'm a poet too. I'm a poet, and you know it. But
oh Lord, you see what I got to deal with? So I do have, mashallah, Farida and is there a last piece of advice that you would give to just general public as it relates to mental health and mental health awareness?
One of the things I forgot to mention that I'm also a prepare and enrich facilitator. So what I do is do marital assessment, premarital assessments, which I recommend to anybody that's getting married.
I'm coming.
Do a premarital assessment, sit down with the counselor, and the reason why I say this is because a lot of times we get in relationships and we get married and we don't have any clue about who we're marrying. So if you would utilize this tool, it talks about communication, it talks about physical fitness, it talks about family issues, problem solving.
I ain't never gonna get married.
So that's the one thing that I do want, because our marriage, especially in the Islamic community, it's just
in, out, in, out,
it's a lot
up,
going
down,
on.
back and forward. Okay.
Yeah, that's the honesty is definitely a lot going on. So I do encourage people to just go ahead and get even if you're already married and you just want to do a marital checkup, we can do that as well. And I think it's just to see where you are in your relationship, because it might be sometimes things in any relationship with your sibling, anything. Sometimes things don't go as well, and you want to kind of keep it fresh. Yeah, so
things start to fester.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure you keep it fresh all the time.
Okay.
And if you're having any type of sadness and overwhelming things, go ahead.
If you're having if you're feeling depressed or anxious or you're sad or you just don't know like what to do, we're suggesting that you seek the help. Go to counseling. Yes.
Mashallah. I'm so sorry. It just hit me when you said sad and depressed and such, because we're in fall and we're about to hit winter, and we didn't mention about the seasonal affective disorder, and it's real.
Yeah.
Oh, it's real.
I didn't know it was real until I left for work in the dark. I came home in the dark, and all I wanted to do is sleep. And I thought it was just because I was tired, not realizing that it was the weather that was doing it to me, because I never had a relationship with time. I never saw daylight. I didn't go out at lunch, take that 20 minutes to get some sunshine and like, hey, okay, because sun really does help. So